Do I work?
Yeah, go ahead.
I am. Good morning. Welcome to the Body Language Show, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am really excited that you've made the choice to come here this morning and learn about body language. Because when it comes to communication, on your handout, does everybody have one of these? Show me yours so I know that you have one. Excellent. On here, on the front, on the bottom, it says the 3 voices of communication. So I call it the voices of communication because when you're communicating with people, there's 3 different parts that people pay attention to. And if I draw them here as a pie chart, the 3 different voices of communication roughly are like this. And this part right here, this little part, is the words that you speak. This middle-sized part is the tone of those words. And this big part right here is your gestures or your body language. And if you want to, on your paper, I'm going to give you the approximate percentages of what makes up the different parts of our communication. Because when I'm talking to somebody, I don't want to just leave my words out. I'll stand up here. Here's now the class. So it doesn't mean that we just leave the words out, even though they're the smallest piece of the communication. What it means is this: if those don't match, if the words and the body language don't match, then only 7% of the time will people use the words to decide what your meaning was. Only 7% of the time. Then that means that the tone and the body language, people are using those more often to decide what your meaning is. So we're looking for when they don't match. If your words and your body language don't match, people are going to use your body language and your tone, the nonverbal pieces of communication. They're going to use these 93% of the time to decide what your meaning is. 93% of your communication is nonverbal. 7% is the actual verbal words. So this is why you've made a wise choice to be here this morning, so that I can help you understand and see more of what's going on in your body language. Because in our world, communication matters. In our world, if we want to accomplish anything, we have to communicate with people. It's not a world where we get to just do everything by ourselves anymore. We have to communicate. And so, does miscommunication cost us? Does it cost us? Where does it cost us? Where is miscommunication costly? Relationships. What was yours? Everywhere. So what's that? Self-worth. Relationships. Where else does it cost us? Think about it for a second. Where does miscommunication cost us? Does it cost you on the freeway? If you miscommunicate with another driver, can that be costly? Absolutely. What about if you miscommunicate, let's just say you're at a restaurant and you have a food allergy and you miscommunicate the food allergy. Can that be costly? Absolutely. So miscommunication is costly. But one of the things that causes the most miscommunication is when our words and our body language don't match. So if we can make it so that our body language matches the words that we speak, we now can improve our communication. So while you're here today, I am going to help you improve your results. Because if you can improve your communication, you can improve your results. So it is January. Let me just check. Do any of you have a goal? All right, about half of you. Some of your hands are like, well, maybe I'll come up with one if you want. Here's the thing. Does that goal matter to you? Yes. It matters to you. Well, then, if the goal matters to you and you improve your communication, you are more likely to get there faster than if you do not have good communication. So if you don't have a goal that you want to achieve, then I suggest that you mentally go la, 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 the whole time you're in class today, because if you implement what I teach you, you will get a different result. It's like Einstein is credited with saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting a new result. If we want a new result, we've got to have a new behavior. Let me say that one more time. If we want a new result, we've got to have a new behavior. And communication with body language is a behavior. So those of you who don't know, my name is Ann Washburn. You'll see, here's my name right there. And I have been working with a company, 3 Key Elements, for the last 8 years. In the last 8 years, I've given over 4,530 presentations. I've learned just a little bit about body language along the way. And so I want to share with you these key things that have taught me how to interact with people, how to communicate better. I want to teach you things that I have personally put into practice. Because even though I have been here doing presentations for the last 8 years, this has not always been the way I was. Because right now, I feel like I have one of the coolest jobs on the planet. I get to travel around and teach people about communication and body language. I speak to all different sizes and groups of people. Last week, I taught a 2-day class called Break Free Intensive over here at the community college. It was off the charts, amazing class. For the whole 2 days, people came up on stage, and I worked with them on their body language to show what was between them and the goals they were trying to achieve, and how to quickly get over those obstacles and accomplish what they wanted in their lives. It was an amazing class. Have any of you been to that class? Nice. Were any of you there last week? Oh, some of the same people. Was it a good class, you guys? It was a really good class. So welcome. I'm glad you guys were there. There were 200 people in that class, and it was amazing. So before I had this coolest job on the planet, I used to work in flight simulation. I built multi-million-dollar flight simulators. And my first job out of college, I worked in explosives. So explosives, flight simulation, body language expert, career path. Well, the reason it happened that way was this. Back when I was in a place called high school, anybody been there? Anybody want to go back? No. Well, I didn't much like it when I was there either. And I realized I didn't get along with the teachers very well. I didn't get along with the students very well. And so I thought, I got to do something different. Well, luckily for me, I grew up in a town with a college. And so I got this idea. I'm going to leave the high school and go to the college and see if they'll take me instead. And the cool thing turns out they will, except for, they said, Ann, you filled out this registration, and we're willing to accept you at the college, but we need to know what your major is. And I'm like, major? I didn't even know you were going to let me come to college. What's my major? So I'm thinking about it for a minute, and I'm like, why am I coming to college? And I'm like, to date the boys. That's why I'm going to college. So let's see, what majors do they have that don't have any girls so that there's more boys to choose from? And so I asked the registration office guy, I said, hey, what majors do you have with no girls? And he looks at me and he goes, no girls? And I said, yeah. I don't want any competition. And he goes, okay. So he got out his book and he said, well, in that case, how about you be an engineer? And I said, are you kidding? I do not want to drive trains. And he looks at me and he said, Ann, there are no trains in our program, but there are very few girls. And I said, really? Sign me up. So I went through school in mechanical engineering, and it's true there weren't very many girls. This is how I know. They called me into the dean's office one day, and they said, Ann, we have elected you Woman of the Year for the department. And I said, was that a hard contest? And they said, well, let's just say we haven't had a Woman of the Year for a few years, and we're really glad to have you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got to be Woman of the Year, which is cool. I can show my kids in my yearbook. See, I was Woman of the Year. Just don't ask me how many people were in the contest. But now here I am, and and I don't have to talk a lot because have you guys ever met engineers? You don't have to talk to them a lot. And so I went through school in mechanical engineering. I graduated. I went to work in explosives and flight simulation. And then I married an engineer because that was part of the plan. If I was going to hang out with them, I could marry one of them. Well, I married one of them and everything was great. I was working in my career and I could hide in my cubicle and I didn't have to talk to anybody. It was awesome until we had kids. We had kids and then my kids went to school. And now I found myself at the school trying to interact with the teachers and other parents. And now it felt like right back when I was in high school, I wasn't getting along with anybody. In fact, I remember one day I came home and I asked my husband, I said, how come everybody on this planet is so mean? And he looks at me and he goes, Ann, I don't think you want the answer to that question. And I'm like, fine, you're mean too. But the thing is that no matter how much effort I put out, my results were low when it came to interacting with people. And this was very frustrating. It's very frustrating when you try really hard to do something and the result is very low. You ever felt that before? I felt it before, like trying to lose weight. Put all this effort out and then the scales doesn't move. It's like, are you kidding me? How does that feel? Discouraging, frustrating, infuriating. Can I just put that? That's how I felt. And I had tried and tried to interact better with people, and I kept getting in fights. I kept getting in arguments. People were not very nice. And so I gave up. I decided, you know what? Fine, I'll just hide from the world. And so I would send my kids to school in the morning, and I would hide in the house. I wouldn't answer the door. I wouldn't answer the phone. Because no matter how hard I tried, I was not improving those results. And so it worked out pretty good, except for one day, I was laying on the couch, and I was surfing through the 7 channels we had on TV. There was nothing on TV. And so I just kept going through them, because this was 10 years ago. The internet did not have as many choices as it does nowadays. And so I'm looking through these channels, and I come across this interview of some celebrities. And the celebrities are all standing in a line after the interview. And they all have these very powerful poses on. And I thought, oh, that's so weird. I would never stand like that. And I got up in my living room and I put on one of the poses and I thought, oh, that's awful. But it clicked a switch in my brain and it made me ask a question. And this was the question. Do they stand like that because they're successful? Or are they successful because they stand like that? And now I got very interested in body language. I thought, really? What is going on there? Why do they stand so differently? Why do they look so differently? And I started paying attention. And I noticed that the way I stood was usually like this. And the way that any celebrity or like CEO of a company stood was usually more confidently looking. And I was like, confident looking? This is an interesting concept. So one day I heard about a body language show, just like you're coming to today, and I quickly signed my husband up for it. I wasn't going to go. There would be people there. But he could go and bring me back the information. And he went to this body language show, and he came home afterwards, and he found me on the couch, and I was hiding under a blanket. And he came over, and I remember he lifted up the blanket, and he goes, Ann, guess what? I signed you up for a class. And I was like, no, just tell me what you learned. And he goes, no, I signed you up for a class. It's called Master Your Influence. Who here's been to Master Your Influence? Master Your Influence is a 3-day class. And he said, Ann, you're going to learn about communication and body language. And I was like, no, unsign me up. You go to the class. Bring me the information. He goes, nope, you are going to the class. And I said, fine. Then watch my body language as I go to the class. And I sat on the back row and I said, fine, go ahead. Try and teach me something. Because I didn't need to change. It was all the mean people on the planet that needed to change. I was just fine. I was trying really hard. So it was everybody else that needed to change and adjust. But as I sat there in that class, I got very clear on something. And that was what I just showed you here, that when your words and your body language send conflicting messages, people will discount what you say to believe what they see. They'll discount your words to believe your body language. And I thought, are you kidding me? I'm sending 2 different messages and people are picking up on it. And remember, I had watched myself and realized I folded my arms a lot. Now, I have to tell you up front, every body language move can mean more than one thing. You have to look at several different pieces to see the whole meaning. But for me, I was noticing that before I would talk to people, I would fold my arms and slump my shoulders a little bit. Now, I'm going to teach you here in a little bit that when people feel weak, when they feel weak, W-E-A-K, not weak like they're feeling their weak on them. They're feeling weak, they cave in, they get smaller. When people feel confident, they take up more space. Their shoulders go back, their chin goes up. They feel less need to protect their vitals, so they open up. So I was paying attention to this, and I noticed for me, I was folding my arms a lot. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I'm going to adjust and see if I get a different result. So I'm driving home from this class, and I'm thinking, what in the world can I do? I've got to try something different. So I got home and I adjusted my body language, and the problem was I immediately got a different result. Dang it. I got a different result, and I'm like, no, I don't want that to be true, because that means I need to work on me. Not everybody else on this planet needs to change. I need to adjust me. And what I've learned and put together and figured out is that our body language is actually sending messages out to people around us that teaches them how to treat us. So let me say that one more time. We actually send messages out to the people around us that teaches them how to treat us. And when they pick up on those messages and treat me according to those messages, I get what I asked for. I get what I asked for. So I'm going to show you where in your subconscious that disconnect is happening. How many of you have watched my TED Talk? Any of you? I did a TED Talk on the connection between our body language and our subconscious programming. But I'm going to teach you at this class at a deeper level. Don't worry, it won't go too sciencey, but I want you to know why your subconscious would let you send a different message with your body language than you do with your words. Because anybody wonder why you wouldn't just have these match? If I'm trying to send a message, why wouldn't my words and my body language just match? Dang it. Well, I had to figure this out. So I'm going to teach you what's going on in your subconscious that's causing you to send conflicting messages. But one of the things that I need you to know is when your words and your body language, when you start to adjust them, it can feel awkward. So everybody play with me for a minute. Everybody fold your arms. Awesome. Now here's the quiz. Look down and tell me which arm's on top. I'll help you out. It's either your right or your left. It's not a wrong answer. It's one or the other. Okay, so which one? Tell me out loud. Right. Okay, so now everybody, you've got your answer. Unfold your arms. Now fold them back with the opposite arm on top. How does that feel? Okay, just hold on to that feeling for a second. I know it's awkward, it's weird, it's uncomfortable. But I want you to notice that what you've just done is changed your body language. And it has triggered in your brain what's called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance states that your brain cannot hold on to two conflicting ideas at the same time without discomfort. Now, the reason I want you to feel what that feels like is this. Very often when I start to teach people about body language, they say, oh, I don't want to do that. That feels uncomfortable, weird, different, odd. Yeah, because you're trying something new. But until you try something new, you are destined to get the same results. So this feeling that you're feeling there, I want you to learn to make friends with it. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try new body language. It means it's evidence that you're trying something new. So now you can unfold your arms. I don't want everybody to fold their arms the whole class. But I wanted you to feel what that feels like. Because until we trigger that cognitive dissonance, we are in the same pattern we've always been in. To develop a new habit, we have to first be uncomfortable in the new habit before we get back to comfortable in the new habit. So in body language, we're going to adjust by going into that place where that feels weird. Just like me standing in my living room and trying on a pose from the celebrities on the TV and going, oh, I hope nobody sees me like that. It felt weird, but it was my opportunity to have an upgraded result. An upgraded result. Would anybody like an upgraded result? Okay. Oh, thank you. People are So what kind of a result do we want? Upgraded. What kind? Upgraded. What kind? Upgraded. Because when we upgrade our behavior, we upgrade our results. So my husband comes home. I go to this spa. I go to this master influence class with him. I leave. I get these new results. But now I'm starting to think, wait a second. If body language matters this much, how come nobody taught me about it in school? How many classes in body language have you had? After today, 1. Okay? So you've come to your first one. And I started to think, well, I want these upgraded results. Why did nobody teach me about this? And so I made the choice that I was going to change from doing cool things like blowing things up and flight simulation to doing really scary things like standing up in front of groups of people on a regular basis to teach them what I know. But in order to teach you what I know, I have to let you know where I've been. And so to know that I was in that massively messy place, so much so that the loudest comment in my head was one that said, Anne, your kids would be better off with any mom than you. And I believed it. I believed it because my results working around the world with people was showing me I was not doing well. And so I believed it. But I had to upgrade my behavior so that I could upgrade my results. And results can include relationships. It can include money. It can include my surroundings, my resources. I can upgrade all of my results when I upgrade my body language. So today, as I teach you these things, I want you to look at your handout here. Inside your handout, there's a second handout, and they can come apart like this. So pull the inside one out so that you have two handouts. See, they go like this, okay? And then, so the inside one has an inside one. So now we're getting really complicated. So you're going to pull out the center section that will have a little center section so that you have an online academy and a body language show. Yes? Okay. Everybody who's online, because I have all these people that are in the room. We also have hundreds of people who are joining us online. Can you guys just wave at the camera so that they feel welcome here? Awesome. All of you that are joining us online, there is a link that you can click on that you will be able to access this same handout, okay? So you click on that link and you'll be able to also access this. So pull these apart. This one, the Online Academy, we are an education company, which means we have many classes and audio recordings and online offerings that we have. That's just for your reference. You can put that one down so you can look at it later. But this one right here, I want to draw your attention to. This one that says the Body Language Show. What does it say? The Body Language Show. So on the front, you see it is presented by Anne Washburn. That's me. On the back, you can read a little bit about me. But now we are going to look at the middle part. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, it even makes sound. You can open it and fold it backwards like this. Because inside this handout, here's what we're going to talk about this morning. This first part, part 1, this is many of the different categories of your body language messages that are sent out. Now, I used to just let people take notes on this, but I decided we could fast forward by me taking the notes on this section for you, and we can just refer back. So we're going to refer back to this piece many times today, because this shows you how different parts of your body language send different messages. Your shoulders don't send the same messages as your feet. Your hands don't necessarily send the same messages as your face. So we are going to use this as a reference. On parts 2 and part 3, these are fill in the blank. But I'm a really nice teacher. I will give you all of the answers. And if you miss one, I encourage you to cheat off your neighbor. Is that cool? You do not get that offer in a class very often. Does anybody need a pen to be able to take notes? If you need a pen, we can get you a pen. Are you all good? You all came prepared to write? Wow, this is a smart group. Ooh, here, make that sound with me. Ooh. I like to have fun, in case you didn't know, because I know how your brain works, and if you play a little bit, your brain retains more information. So on part 2 and 3, I will give you all the answers, and you can cheat off your neighbor if you don't get one. And then this one right here, where this stick figure is, this is where I'm going to teach you what's going on in your subconscious, why your subconscious would send a different message with your body language than the words that you're speaking. And I'm going to show you that so that you can choose your upgrade, so that you can upgrade your results. Because what kind of results do we want? Upgrade. What kind? Upgrade. One more time. What kind? Upgrade. So when we improve our body language, we improve our results. When we upgrade our body language, we upgrade our results. So those are the things I'm going to teach you while you're here this morning. Are you in? Yes. All right. So that means that we have to be able to watch people in order to learn about body language, which means I'm going to ask for volunteers. Now, I got a giggle, and the rest of the room held their breath on that one. So that means I have to create here a safe atmosphere so people feel safe to be the ones that come up to the front. So at any 3 key elements event that you come to, we have 3 rules, because rules provide safety. Rules provide context. So the rules are, those of you who have been to a 3 key elements event before, what's always rule number 1? Respect. At every event, we have high levels of respect. R-E-S-P-E-C. So we're going to have high levels of respect. Please tell the people on both sides of you, I will respect you till lunchtime. After that, you are out of my jurisdiction. But until then, high levels of respect. What is rule number 2? Do you remember that one? Be present. Be present. That means, at this class, that means this. It means if I ask you a question, be willing to guess if you don't know the answer. It means be willing to try things out, like when I had you fold your arms. It means when I ask for volunteers, I would suggest you respond with this body language. Me, pick me. Here, try it out. Ready? Me, pick me. Okay, how did that feel? Different, awkward, uncomfortable. Because I know that there was this kid in elementary school who volunteered for something and it didn't go well. And from that point forward, you were like, I am never going to volunteer. I am not going to be that person. It's not going to be me. But here, be willing. In fact, when I ask for volunteers, I will let you respond like this to get past your old programming. And then I will say, who really wants to be a volunteer? Because I would love for you to get to push past your old programming and get a new result. So I'm going to ask for volunteers in a little while. And how are you going to respond? And then afterwards, I'll say, who really wants to volunteer? And then you can point at your neighbor. But we want to be present. We want to be present, which also means playful in this class. And what's the 3rd rule? Manage your communication devices. That means make sure your cell phone's on silent. It also means wait until question time to ask your questions. So if you think of a question, write it down if it's not quite time for questions yet. Because I will give you time for questions, but I promise I'm going to make you think about things differently. And so it's exciting to be able to think of things and to ask new questions. So be willing to write them down so that you have them ready. So 3 rules. First rule is high levels of respect. 2nd rule is to be present. And 3rd rule is everyone who will abide by these rules while you're here, please raise your hand and leave them up so I can make sure we have an agreement. Awesome. Okay, can we have a round of applause for having an agreement? Excellent. Okay, so when it comes to communication, let's start on part 2, where it says powerful communication. Let's start right there. Because reading body language is a skill to find answers and solutions. Answers and solutions. When you've got those written in, say, got it, and I'll know it's time to go on. You guys are quick. Reading body language is a skill to find answers and solutions. To begin reading body language, I must remove judgment and see movements as indicators. I must remove judgment and see movements as indicators. When you've got them written in, say, got it. When I see movement, the next step is to ask good questions. Ask good questions. Okay, so if you see somebody standing like this, what does it mean? They're closed, they're protective. What else could it mean? They're bored, they're cold, they're thinking, they're shy, they're scared, insecure, tired. What was that one? Very sad. It could mean any of those. How are you going to know which one it is? Ask what kind of question? Is this a good question? Why are you so shy? Why isn't that a good question? It's a judgment. It pushes people away. So the difference between a good question and an ungood question, that's a word, I made it up. The difference between a good question and an ungood question is good questions build rapport and increase connection. Ungood questions push people away and cause them to feel judged. Because what a better question could be is it cold in here to you? Yeah, I'm freezing. Oh, well, now you've figured out why they're folding their arms. But when we ask questions, we get answers. People think they want answers. What they need is better questions. Because until we ask better questions, we can't get the better answers. But let me show you what's going on inside of your subconscious. So turn to your stick figure on the back for a minute, and let's just explore what's going on here. Inside your brain, you have a conscious and a subconscious. Is that true? Yes. Did you bring both with you? Yes. Oh, you are smart. That was a good idea. Well, in science, they love to study things. They love to count things. They like to see how we process. And one of the things they've done is they've counted how many things we can process in a minute or in a second. In a second. And they figured out that your conscious mind can process up to 40 pieces of information every single second. 40 pieces of information. We have input that comes from all around us, from all of our senses, from inside our body. Our conscious mind can process up to 40 pieces of that information every single second. But how many can your subconscious mind process? A lot more. This is where you guess. Good job. Good guesses. Because your subconscious mind is processing many more things than the conscious. In fact, on average, your subconscious mind will process 40 million pieces of information in the same amount of time that your conscious mind will process 40. So 1 million times more information is going through your subconscious mind than your conscious mind. Now, in order to do that, your subconscious mind behaves much like a computer because your computer processes lots of random information. But your computer, and I hold it like this because your phone is a computer as well, how does it know what of that random information you want to see? How does your computer know? The programs, the apps, whatever is on your computer tells your computer what information you are interested in. Well, your subconscious is the same way. It develops programs over time so that it knows what information out of these 40 million packets of information you are actually interested in. And so over time, it develops programs, and based on those programs, decides what information it passes. Represents the filter between the conscious and the subconscious. Because if all of this information was suddenly passed to the conscious mind, what would that feel like? Overwhelmed, little explosions going on in your brain. It would be ugly. And so your subconscious protects you by only passing the information to your conscious mind that you are interested in. And it decides that based on your programs. Now, here's the, I'm not going to say good news, but interesting news, is that science has also discovered that the majority of the programs that your subconscious mind runs on were placed in your subconscious between the ages of birth and 11 years old. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that so cool that that program you got from when you were 7 years old is still making decisions in your finances as an adult? Wait a second. What about that one from when you were 9 years old that's now making decisions in your marriage as an adult? Isn't that awesome? Whoa. Well, computers have this same problem. If a computer is still running a program from 10 years ago, could it give you faulty results? And so what do computers do? They upgrade, they update. All the time you get messages on your computer nowadays or on your phone that says, hey, there's a software update available. Would you like to install it now? And for me, I'm usually like, yes, I want to install the new program. Upgrade me, update my programming. Because programmers know if you're running faulty programs, you get faulty results. Anybody ever had a faulty result? You don't have to raise your hand on that one. Well, maybe we should. Anybody here ever had a faulty result? Yeah, we get them all the time. All the time we have faulty results. And the biggest reason is we are running out of date programming. We need to update our subconscious programming. Otherwise, that program from when you were 4 years old, man, it worked well when you were 4 years old. But now, as an adult, it's making decisions for you. And you are deciding how to interact with people, how to go for your goals, how to not finish things, how to all kinds of things. Let me get my word. See, you too can be a presenter. It can even dictate whether or not you have a clean environment that you live in. It can dictate all kinds of things. So who here would want an upgrade for their programming? Yeah? Okay, we are in the right place. Because if I can't update those programs, I'm destined to repeat my results. This is why we see kids who grow up and behave like their parents, because the programming comes out as an adult. And yet, any of you ever as a teenager think, oh, I am not going to be the same as my parents? You never thought that, right? Not this room, no. But then what we do is we look in the mirror one day and go, why am I exactly like my parents? Are you kidding me? Because nobody ever showed us how to upgrade our programming. They didn't show us where the button was. It would be really nice if we could just walk in the bathroom in the morning and have a blinky light on our forehead that said, hey, you need an upgrade. That would sell. I should do a Kickstarter on blinky lights for your forehead. It would be really easy because everybody needs an upgrade, so all I have to do is put a blinky light, and then I'll teach you how to upgrade. Because you guys are here. So do you want to learn how to upgrade? Yeah. All right. So let's look at, this is also going to be the answers to part number 3 on your handout. Let's look at one of the other things that's going on inside of your subconscious. So your subconscious is, well, I got to teach you one level deeper. And that is this: your subconscious does not care if a program is good for your results or not. In other words, you can pick a goal, and your subconscious does not care about your goal. What it cares about is the program. Your subconscious has a job, and its job is to keep you alive and comfortable. And so if a program won't kill you, or at least it hasn't in the past, and it's familiar, your subconscious will defend that program. It defends it because it sees the program as valid. Now, I'm going to call it valid because it's not necessarily true, but your subconscious has validated the program. So it now wants to defend that program. So when you are getting ready to talk to somebody, when you're getting ready to interact and speak, your subconscious picks the words that you speak before you speak them. Have you ever felt like you have too many words to get out your mouth? Your subconscious will choose approximately 650 words every minute for you to speak. But your subconscious is picking those based on the programs it's trying to defend. It wants to defend the programming that's already in your subconscious. So it picks 650 words for you to speak. But how many of you can speak 650 words in a minute? We can't. Even the little disclaimer voices on the radio, that they only can get up to 350 words a minute, okay? So 650 words is a lot. On average, when we go to speak, those 650 words get filtered down to 150 words every minute. On average, we can speak 150 words a minute. Some girls it's more, some guys it's less, but on average, it's 150 words. But we had to filter those words. Remember, this is a filter. So we had to take those 650 words and filter them down to 150 words in a minute. Do you wish some people had a better filter? Man, that would be nice. Because how do we filter them? We filter them based on they're politically correct or not, whether they're nice or not, whether there's kids around or not. But we filter those words. The funny thing is, we also filter the tone of the words. Some of us get really good at we filter the words and then we put a cutting tone around the words. Because then we can claim innocence. Oh, I didn't say anything mean, but I coded it with tone. And it went in and it jabbed a little bit just like this. So we filter our tone, but we filter the words the most, and then we calculate our tone. We calculate the tone we want to put around those words. So we filter the words, and then we calculate the tone, and we send a message. And that message is chosen based on the programs that are in the subconscious. So now I'm sending a message, but have I sent the whole message yet? No. How many words got held back? 500. And each of those words, we held back the tone that would have gone with them. So 500 words got held back. But your subconscious says, wait, Anne, I picked those words so I could defend your programs. I need the whole message to go out. So let me help you out and make sure the whole message goes out. Where does the rest of the message go out? In our body language. Isn't that good news? Okay, here's the sound I made when I learned about this. I was like, ah! Here, try that sound. Ah! You're saying that I spoke nice words, but I might have sent out a mean message? Yes. No. Bad. Pull back all, my brain's going, pull back all the messages we've been sending. Those extra words come out in your body language. And that is the good news and the bad news. It's the bad news because it explains why I have been getting the results I've been getting, because I keep sending these messages. It's the good news because I can change it. I can override it. And this is how we access the upgrade button to our subconscious computer. Because there are some things that I can take conscious control over away from my subconscious. There's some that I can't. For example, here, play with me again for a second. Everybody, hold your breath. Okay, now tell your heart to stop beating. Okay, it didn't work. You can breathe again. You can override your breathing. You can't override your heartbeat. Can you calm it down? Yeah, you can. But can you stop it? I hope not. Because it would be such a pain to have to think about my heartbeat. Okay, here, let me teach a class. Oh, wait, my heart beat, beat, beat. Okay, now, wait, beat, beat, beat. I'm really glad I don't have to consciously think about my heartbeat. I'm grateful for that. But I want you to think about your breathing. When you go swimming, can you hold your breath? Yes. When you pass the refinery on the freeway, can you hold your breath? Yes. But when you quit thinking about your breathing, does it start up again? Yes. Do you think your body language is more like your heartbeat or your breathing? Your breathing. I can override my body language and cause it to send a new message. But when I quit thinking about it, the body language will go back to subconscious control. Did that make sense? Half of you. So let me just recap it really quick. My subconscious is trying, and I'm going to say it a different way. My subconscious is trying to validate the programs that are there. So my subconscious wants to send the full message out to see if people will now treat me according to that message. If I send the message out and you treat me according to that message, my subconscious says, the program is valid. What is? The program is? It's valid. I didn't say true, but the program is valid. And so my subconscious wants to send that whole message out. If it gets back the message it was expecting, that validates the program and it continues the cycle. If instead I interrupt this program anywhere in the cycle, I can insert a new message. I can insert a new program. So for example, if I start to send a message out that I push out, and I override it and change it to a pull-in message, I now trigger cognitive dissonance in my subconscious because it says, wait a second, that is not the result I was expecting. And now your subconscious has to decide, or ask you to decide, do you want to maintain the old program or do you want to upgrade to a new program? So when I interrupt my body language, I now can cause cognitive dissonance, which will send a new message and start to upgrade my subconscious program. Let me demonstrate. When I learned about this, I noticed that when my kids would come home from school, they would walk in the house, and I would meet them at the door, and I would say, kids, tell me about your day. Does this match? Tell me about your day. Go away. This is a push away gesture. But yeah, I was telling them two different things. I was saying with my words, kids, tell me about your day. And with my body language, I was saying what? Go away. Which one is louder? The body language. So my kids didn't want to talk to me after school. And so now it reinforced the program in my mind that I don't know how to interact with people. Because even my own kids didn't want to talk to me. So it validated my program. It validated it. that people did not want to interact with me. That was one of my programs. Now, was it true? No. Did I make it true? Did I validate it? Yes, I validated. I behaved in a way that people were not wanting to interact with me. Even my own kids. Kids, tell me about your day. And then I get upset because they don't want to talk to me. And I thought, I am going to interrupt my body language. That's what this line is. I'm going to interrupt it. Just like if I'm going to get in the swimming pool, I'm going to interrupt my breathing. I am going to interrupt my body language. So I had a talk with my hands, and I said, hands, this is a push away. This is a pull towards. So here, try it with me, you guys. Push away, pull towards. Okay, in your handout on part number 1, in the lower left-hand corner, you see where it says 4 foundational moves. When you've got it, say, got it. So the 4 foundational moves, what you push goes away. So I'll say the first part, you say the second part. What you push, what you pull, what you hold down, and what you lift. I thought I want to quit pushing if that means they go away. Go away. All right. So what do I want from my kids? I want comes towards you. Pull. All right. Pull. So I had this conversation with my hands. We're not going to push. We're going to pull. So the next day I go to the door. Kids, tell me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Hand, do you not remember our conversation? Pull. And my kids are looking at me like, Mom is broken. Tell me about your day. They still didn't want to talk to me. I don't know why. So the next day, third day, I'm like, okay, hand, remember? Pull, 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 pull. Okay, pull. Kids, tell me about your day. Because remember the cognitive dissonance? It felt so weird. Tell me about your day. They still didn't want to talk to me. But I'm like, no, I want to upgrade my program. Because at this point, the little workers in my head are going, beep, 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 error, 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 error. This does not match what we're used to. Are you sure you want to change your program? And I'm like, yes. Upgrade the program. I can take it. And my little workers are like, okay, the boss lady said, upgrade the program, change the program. Let us let people in. So the 4th day, the kids come in and I said, kids, tell me about your day while I finish cooking dinner over here. And they left. They didn't come. And I was like, no, I'm going to hold it. My kids want to talk to me. They want to talk to me. And I'm cooking dinner. And all of a sudden I look up and 2 of my kids had come to the counter and started talking to me about their day. Because I held to my new upgrade. I held my button long enough for my program to adjust and begin sending the new message out so that I could get the new message back. And that is a very powerful upgrade. When you can interact with your kids differently, it is a powerful upgrade. What is it? Ooh, powerful upgrade. What is it? Powerful upgrade. It's a powerful upgrade. And so when I saw that, I was like, I want to upgrade in other ways. I want to change my programs. Because if I interrupt this, I get new results. If I interrupt this, I get upgraded results. And so I wanted an upgrade. I felt like I was as low as I could get. I mean, to be in the place where I didn't want to be on the planet anymore, or I didn't want to have to interact and damage my children, because that's what I felt like I was doing. I felt like the only place I could go was up. So I began adjusting my body language. So let's make sure you got all the answers to part number 3, and then I'll show you the next part. So on part number 3, I'm going to read the top. The ability to understand and use nonverbal communication is now circle this word, powerful tool that will help you to, now underline, connect with others, express what you really mean, and navigate challenging situations to build better relationships. So it will help you to connect, express, and navigate. Those are worthwhile. Those are worthwhile upgrades. So I'm going to read this next part, and you tell me the answers to the fill in the blanks. While you are speaking, the brain prepares and organizes 650 words per minute to say. At the last moment, our consciousness filters this down to 150 words. As the person speaks, there are an average of 500 words that are held back. And these hidden words show up in body language. I like that. Body language. They show up in our body language. Okay. So if I am interrupting, I am upgrading. If I am interrupting, I am upgrading. But when I interrupt, it feels awkward at first. Does it feel awkward for me now to pull instead of push my kids? No, because I have a new program that is now my comfortable way of interacting. Let me give you one more example, and then I'll open it up to questions for just a minute. The next one was, I told you, I noticed that for myself, I folded my arms a lot. When somebody feels weak, they cave in. Their chin goes down, their shoulders go down, their arms go in, their weight goes on one leg. We tend to become smaller when we feel weak. When we feel stronger, our weight goes on both legs, our shoulders go up, our chin goes up, our arms come open. Whenever we close our arms or our hands in front of us, we call that a gate. We are gating ourselves off. And we can gate in lots of different ways. There's lots of different ways to close ourselves off. And it just means that we're putting a barrier between ourselves and others. Because we don't want to let them in, or we don't want to let ourselves out. Either way, it can work both ways. But for me, I noticed that and if you watch my TED Talk, I talk about this a little bit. I noticed that for me, I would fold my arms a lot. And it was kind of weird because as I paid attention to me, if you want to learn about body language, pay attention to you, because you have body language. You don't have to watch everybody else. Watch you first. And I noticed that I would get out of my car to go into my kids' school, and immediately I would fold my arms because I was already worried about the interaction that would happen when I went in to be around people. And it would happen, for me, it was anywhere there were people, the post office, the grocery store, work, the school, anywhere. I would immediately fold my arms. And my excuse was that girl clothes don't have pockets. That was my excuse, because I'm like, well, I would just put them in my pockets, but I have nowhere to put them. And you can't just let them dangle out here, because that's really weird. So I folded my arms. Well, I decided I wanted to upgrade. And I thought, all right, if I'm looking at all those pieces, the head, the shoulders, the weight, the arms, and I'm like, I'm going to start with arms. I'm going to pick one. So did you hear that secret there? Don't try to change all of it at once. Pick one thing. Pick one. How many? One. So I picked arms, and I thought, today I'm going to unfold my arms. And I thought, oh, that will look so weird to have my arms down to my sides. But the question is really this. Does it look weird, or does it just feel weird? If somebody stands with their hands down to their side, does it look weird? So some of you are like, well, yeah, it does. Well, I tested it. I went and I actually started paying attention in movies and TV shows. When you watch actors in movies, if they're not doing anything in the scene, the majority of the time, they're standing with their hands down to their sides. Unless they specifically for their part need to do something else, they stand with their hands down to their sides. And we don't go, oh, that looks so weird, because if we did, we wouldn't go to the movie. And so if it doesn't look weird there, I thought, well, maybe I can try it too. So I decided I was going to have my hands down to my side. So I remember very clearly I was pulling up to my son at the time. This particular kid was in kindergarten, and I was going to go to his kindergarten classroom. And I remember I opened the door to my car, I got out and got my preschooler out, and we start to walk in, and I already had folded my arms. And I said, no, today I'm going to unfold my arms. And I took a few more steps, and I had already folded them again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is going to be a long day. So we hadn't even gotten to the front door of the building, and I'd already unfolded them twice. So now I got to the door, and they were folded again. And I'm like, okay, unfold your arms, open the door, open the second door, and already they were folded again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Unfold your arms. I'm walking down the hall like this. And I remember somebody stopped me and they said, are you okay? And I said, I'm just upgrading. And it was so hard. I was like, no, I can keep my arms down. So then I get to the teacher that I'm supposed to talk to, and I'm like, talking to her like this. She's like, are you okay today? Just fine, thanks. And I'm sure it didn't look that weird, but it felt that weird. It felt that awkward. And the crazy thing about it was, my body was so used to me not putting my hands down here that as I tried to do this, my fingers swelled up really big because I didn't even have the blood vessels to pull the fluid back out of my fingers. And so I had to take off all my rings for that week while I was learning to unfold my arms because my body had to get used to the fact that I was really going to keep my hands down to my sides. You guys, if you could have followed me around, I looked so bizarre and I felt weird. I felt weird. But I wanted the upgrade. And when we want something bad enough and we're willing to put in the work, the result is that much more valuable to us. It's that much more valuable. And the weird thing about it was, I had noticed that I'd always folded my arms, and people had treated me a certain way. They would, okay, are you guys a deep thinking group? Can I tell you the real deep parts behind it, or do we want to stay more shallow? Deep? Okay, so half of you don't care, and the other ones say half. Say deep. So we're going to go deep. Here's what was going on. Inside of me, I was feeling defensive. Does that make sense? Because I worried about me. I was worried about how I was coming across to people. Anybody ever worry about what other people think about you? I'm going to tell you a secret that I usually only talk about in my group mentoring, because I mentor people one-on-one, but I also do small groups in this room right here. And usually I only talk about this to them, but I want you to listen. What other people think about me actually has no effect on me. It's what I think they think about me that has the effect on me. Not what they really think, it's what I think they think. Because we never truly know what somebody thinks of us. We might hear their words, but based on our programs, we filter it to mean what we believe it is. So it's what I think they think of me that affects me. And the cool thing is I have power over what I think others think of me. I don't have power over what they think of me. I have power over what I think they think of me. Okay, did you catch that? Yes? And so I realized that as soon as I would fold my arms, in my head went this chain of thoughts that said what they would think of me. They don't like me. They think I'm dumb. They don't want me around. All these stupid comments that would go through my head, this mean mind bully chatter would go through my head as soon as I folded my arms. And I thought, well, I don't really like those comments, because I thought that the comments were true, that it was how they thought of me. Because when I would send out the message of defensiveness, it would cause the people to treat me in a way that I needed to be defensive. Okay, let me repeat that one more time. When I acted in a defensive way, it sent out a message that caused people to treat me in a way that I would need to be defensive, because it would match. Everybody picks up on body language. We all do, to varying degrees. What we don't know how to do is choose our body language. That's what you're learning here, is how to choose your own body language. That's the real power of body language. It's not, sometimes I laugh at what they do on the news and on the internet, like, oh, this person, did you watch their body language in this interview or this political situation? I've even been on TV analyzing politicians' body language. I've done all of this. But the real cool value of body language is being able to pick your own message, send that message out, and now get the results back that match the new body language. So what I found was, when I quit folding my arms, the mind chatter in my head changed. Because at first, is this too deep? Are we good? We're good? Here's what happened. I have my arms folded, okay? Just to simplify it. And the mind chatter in my head is, they don't like me. They don't want you around. Some of it was about me, and some of it was like a third party telling me, they don't want you around. They're not going to like you. Nobody ever likes you. That kind of comment was going through my head. So I chose to unfold my arms. At first, so the mind chatter was here. At first, it intensified. It intensified. And it went, are you kidding? You better fold your arms. You got to protect yourself. Those are really mean people. So at first it intensified, but as I said, no, I want a new result. I want to be open. The mind chatter gave up and went down in its intensity to a place of, and it was almost, I swear, I heard these voices in my head go, fine, you're not going to listen to me anymore. I'm going to go away. And I'm like, seriously? There's like little voices in my head that can go away? I vote for that. And so I kept my arms unfolded, and the mind chatter changed to a place of, well, maybe you can interact with people. So it started to shift to where it got to a better place. We can actually expect a different result, but the cognitive dissonance will take on different intensities as we're going through the adjustment. Is that good news or bad news? It's uncomfortable news. That's a good answer. So as I made it through my week of looking like this, which made for a great story, I made it through that, and I was keeping my hands down to my side, and I had chosen to change my career. So now I got to the time where I had to do my very first body language show. And the very first body language show, ignorance on fire, you just don't know what you're doing. I went and I arranged to speak to a group of 80 people. And I was speaking to this group of 80 people. And I remember I walked up, I had figured out to quit folding my arms and hold them down to my sides, but I hadn't learned anything else yet. So I walked into this body language show with my hands down to my side. And I'm teaching this class to this group of people, and I didn't move my hands the whole time. And I remember there was this girl that was like right over here. She raised her hand, and I'm like, yes. And she goes, do you have good body language? Yes. because I had no idea what to do. So I just was so I was walking around like this. Would that look creepy? Yeah, for sure. The only reason I'm telling you that is it's okay to not be perfect as you figure this out. Because I had to get through the awkward and then realize, oh, this is where I put my hands away. This isn't where I keep them. So we use our hands, we can talk with our hands, we can use our gestures, but when you're done, instead of putting them away here, you put them away here. So instead of putting them away here or in my pockets, I just put them away here. This is a neutral position for hands, a neutral position. So now, play with me here for a second again. Have any of you ever heard of the afternoon slump? You heard of that? Anybody ever heard of gravity? Okay, all right, now we're on the same page. Well, gravity likes to pull down on us. And by the afternoon, it's pulling more down on us. Or like right now when it's getting really warm in here. DJ, I had to see who was back there. So it pulls down on us, and what it pulls down on us the most is our shoulders and our chin. So everybody, let gravity pull down on your shoulders and your chin for me for a minute. How does that feel? Downgraded, tired, asleep. Several yawns happened as soon as you did that. I was like, oh, okay, nap time. Now, everybody, pull your shoulders up and your chin just above level. How does that feel? Okay, what's the word? How does it feel? Upgrade, powerful, awake, confident, engaged. So just changing your body language, what you just felt was the change in the program going to your subconscious. When our shoulders are slumped and our chin is down, we're sending a message to our subconscious of low energy, of downgrade, of I can't do it. And when we put our shoulders up and our chin up, we upgrade the message. We change the program. We can do it that quickly. So I would highly suggest that if you walk out of here with no other information than just remembering to pull your shoulders up and pull your chin up. This is why in the old days, Grandma would always say, you must have good posture, work on your posture. Because part of the reason for that was it upgrades our thinking. It upgrades our thinking. Cool? All right, so let's open it up for questions for a minute. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask about what we've talked? And we're going to use a microphone. Keep your hand up so they can pass the microphone, because then everybody online will be able to hear your question as well. So tell us your first name.
Steve.
Hi, Steve.
So the second time I've heard your story about your husband volunteering you to go. I still loved it. I want to know what the process was between the time he told you you needed to go to this and actually going. What were your feelings and how did you overcome them?
You mean how many different ways did I try to get out of it?
Yes.
And how many? Because I tried to get out of it by saying I didn't have a babysitter. I tried to get out of it by canceling the ticket. I tried to get out of it by sending somebody in my place. I tried everything to get out of it. Why do you ask?
Because my friend has suggested that my wife comes to things and I'm terrified to ask her because she hates this stuff. And I don't know the process of convincing, communicating without being beaten.
That's a great question. Because the thing is that we have to be willing to go first. Had my husband not said he also bought himself a ticket, I probably would not have gone. If he said, here, I just bought you a ticket so you can go, I wouldn't have gone.
Oh, so he went with you then?
He went with me. He went with me. And so that right there was a big step in helping me to go because it felt safer. And the other thing I did was I said, I'll go till noon on the first day, and then I'm going to leave if I don't like it. And so he's like, all right, that's fair. And so I didn't feel like I didn't feel overwhelmed by the time investment. Does that make, or that it wasn't time, it was the emotional investment. I didn't feel overwhelmed by that. So he went with me, and he also only held me to the first half of the day. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I love this by the time I was through half of it. But it didn't mean that I immediately had all those upgrades that I just told you about. It meant that I saw a light at the end of the tunnel. And so when you're interacting with somebody and trying to help them, that's one of the reasons I do these body language shows, so that somebody can get a Costco sample, so to speak, and see if they like the taste of it before they buy the whole bag. But be willing to go with them, that shows your willingness to also go first. Because do you like it when somebody says, you should change, but I'm not going to do it? Or you should go on this just happened at my house last week. One of my kids decided that they're going to try to upgrade their eating habits. And one of my other ones knew that he was going to start the next day, and he brought a dozen donuts home. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's not helpful. That's not going first. And so, because this other kid that brought the donuts, he could use the eating upgrade too. So you go first. So by being willing to go with, because that's also an emotional support, and being willing to give them a sample ahead of time. So like, for example, this class, we're recording it, and it will be up on YouTube for, I'm not sure how many days afterwards, but I think it's a few days. So they can get some sample of it that way too. But for me, remind me your name?
Steve.
Steve. So Steve, what's your wife's name?
I don't want to tell if she watches it.
Okay.
It's Belinda.
Okay, you don't have to tell, that's fine. So I feel like I'm a lot like her. And for me, it helped that my husband bought me the ticket, because then I didn't have to make the decision to buy it. I just had to make the decision to accompany him. So it helped me get past the first obstacle. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so sometimes we have to take that leap of faith and say, I'm going to go. I want you with me. Let's go together, but I'm going to go regardless. Does that help?
Yes.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, big round of applause for Steve. Okay, right here.
Can I just add?
With the microphone.
Thank you. Can I just add I was in the same situation, and I'd been coming a long time, and my husband had seen some changes, so he was a tiny bit open. So when I asked him, he said, I'll only go if my friends go. So I emailed their wives, and I said, hey, I need my husband here to this marriage class. Can you help me at it? And they said, yes, and we all signed up. And then they wondered why we were getting a divorce. I mean, it was a big deal, because they were wondering. But I went back and read the email, and it just said, he needs to be there. So he got there, and then came the sarcastic comments. And Kurt was teaching the class, and the first thing he talked about is sarcasm. And that changed his behavior, because he realized he was doing that. And then he was open to listening at that point. So it was years of different steps to get him there, and it was really great.
So she's saying that her experience was the opposite. She went, and she wanted her husband there, and she wanted him to come to the marriage class, because we have a marriage relationships class. Have you heard of that? Any of you? Royalty and Romance. And at the marriage relationships class, she wanted him there, so she got friends to go. So there's girls like to do things together, even if they don't admit that they like people, because I didn't like people 10 years ago, but I didn't want to be alone, so I wanted my husband there. So there's some more ideas. Okay, Steve? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, round of applause for them again.
So
Can you tell us your first name?
Yes, my name is Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. So could you demonstrate how you would use body language when you are affirming abundance? Maybe you're working with your money friends, you're holding your money friends.
Can you hold your microphone up? There you go. Thank
Yes. So how would you demonstrate body language when you're looking for abundance to come towards you?
So that question actually has several different answers. Because the first thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we define what abundance means. Because abundance, I do trainings online on Facebook once a week. And one of the trainings I did last week talked a little bit about abundance and scarcity. Are you in that group where I was?
I'm not.
You're not? So just look for me on Facebook, and
Okay.
then you can find my groups that I teach on Facebook, okay?
Okay.
But in there, I was talking about the difference between abundance and scarcity. And we were talking about clutter in our house. And that one of the things that we will artificially think when we have lots of stuff in our house is that lots of stuff means abundance. A lot of something does not necessarily mean abundance. Abundance, we have to check in with what our definition is. And to me, abundance means that I have lots that flows through me, that I am a good steward. It doesn't have to stop at me to be abundant.
Right.
It means that things will be where they need to be when they need to be them, and that I can pass them on. I don't have to keep everything. I don't have to have 72 cups in my house to feel abundant. I can say, oh, I am in an abundant place. I have enough to pass forward. So my first part of my answer to your question would be, make sure you check in with what does abundance mean to you. And that it doesn't mean everything stops with me. And it's the same with money. Money is a currency. It's meant to flow. Can I build up a pool of it and then use it in one place? Absolutely. But it's important that as I'm building up the pool, I define what it's for, why I'm doing it. Because if all I'm doing is to build the number just to have the number, that's a stagnant version of abundance. So I want to make sure that I'm viewing abundance as a flow that keeps happening. Because flows, they also clean things. Like if you have a river that flows, the river can grow, but it stays clean because it flows. If you start damming it off and just try to build up a pool, it gets dirty over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So make sure that it is a flow. Now, that being said, body language matches those kinds of emotions. Do you flow in your body language, or do you stop? Because have you ever seen somebody who talks and it's like they talk in this, their hands are in this box right here? I call them T-Rex talkers because they talk right here, and it's like they can't get their arms out. It's like they're attached surgically right here, and they can't. What was that? Everybody okay? Oh, that was the mic drop. So we want to, if we let our arms separate from our side, that is an abundance way of talking. No, you don't have to. Well, when you're talking, you can. She said, so you just stand like this? Well, yeah. But the idea is watch yourself. Like, for example, if somebody asks you for directions, do you say, well, yeah, you just go down there and turn left? See how it's attached?
Right.
Or do you say, go down there and turn left? People aren't going to think you're weird because you use a full gesture. They might think you're weird if you walk around like this. But, because remember, I said, here is where you put your hands away. So use your full gesture. Allow your arm to come out and your elbow to straighten at some point during your day. Or what you were saying, she was talking about money friends. That's, if you haven't been to a 3 Key Elements class, ask somebody else in here to explain money friends to you. But the idea is that money is a relationship. And so if we can make friends with money and allow it to be a flow, like we don't want to, can I borrow you for a second? Would you come up here? So if tell me your name. Susan. So if Susan is my friend, I don't want friendship to be like this. Hi, Susan, you're now my friend. I'm going to dictate everything you do. You cannot flow out of my life ever again. You are here and stuck. Do you like this friendship? No. Well, maybe. But if I instead say, hey, Susan, I'm going to go over here and do this. You want to come with me? That changes the relationship. And see, the body language changes. Full extension here, come with me.
Okay.
So use it as a friendship instead of a controlship.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Are we still friends? All right, awesome. Okay, round of applause for Susan coming up here. So that's what you want to think about, not just when you're working with your money friends in the morning or working on that relationship, but all day during the day. Do you ever have a point that you let your hands or your arms completely separate from your sides? Can I give you one more piece?
Yeah.
Okay, your belly button is like, okay, it's math class for a second. You know, on a graph, you would have 0, and above the line is positive numbers, and below the line is negative numbers. Your belly button is about that 0 point. And so if you never allow your hands to come above the belly button height during the day, you're keeping yourself, just going to say it this way, in debt. You're keeping yourself down. But if you allow your hands to come up above the 0 part, you're sending that message to your brain of abundance, of movement above the line. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
I will now,
Thank you.
here I am. But you can't, all right, just for fun, everybody put your hands up like this. And then now we want to stretch. You feel how it makes you want to stretch and grow a little bit? It's like that. You can do that actually in the morning in your bathroom. You can put your hands above your head, and if you actually added a smile to it, it's legal. I've checked. Yeah, all right, now you can put your arms down. But the thing is,
I get it. That's why they do that in some churches, right?
oh yeah, well, or at concerts or wherever.
There you go.
But the thing is we don't allow our hands to go up very often. We have this story in our head about what is socially acceptable and what is not socially acceptable. And we never get to feel what that feels like. So why not in the morning in your bathroom? You don't even have to let anybody see you. You can lock the door and just give yourself a chance to actually feel your hands go above your head. Feel what that feels like. Doesn't mean you have to walk around all day like this. Wahoo! But it means that you got to feel it at some point during the day. And if we don't get to feel it, how are we going to know how to attract it to ourselves if we don't know what it feels like? So as far as abundant body language, separating the elbows from the sides, letting your hands go above the midpoint, and using flowing gestures, not stopping. Because you've seen this kind of body language, or this kind, or where people talk and you'll pay attention now. When you see somebody talk, they'll talk and they'll stop, like they're hitting a wall right here. Let your body language gesture continue all the way through. And those are abundant body language gestures. Cool?
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, yes.
All right, anybody glad she asked that? Give her a round of applause. Excellent. Okay, any other questions before we go to our next part? Okay, right here.
It's not so much a question, but an observation.
Can you use the microphone right there?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not so much a question as an observation. It just sparked something when you were talking about flow.
What's your name?
My name is Colleen.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi. I just pictured water because it's been something for me, this abundance, this question that she asked really sparked something in me because I'm looking for more. I'm looking for security, and I haven't really ever had that. But I pictured water when you said flow because deciding what abundance was a big deal, you know, what that meant. And so I pictured water, and when it comes to this, you said dam it all up, it becomes not clean or it becomes stagnant. It becomes a different version of itself because it doesn't have a flow. And when we think of money the same way, you know, pile up some money to take care of all the things we want and need, it becomes stagnant the same way if we don't flow and use it for good and use it for the things that we desire. And so I just pictured that. Lakes are great. We like this lake.
As long as they have an inlet
As long as they
and
have an outlet,
Yes.
because if they don't, it becomes something like the Great Salt Lake where it's just salty and you can't even drink it.
Yeah.
And so that was my observation, was that money, like water, has to have outlet. It has to have a balance of ebb and flow to really be good. And it just was such an aha moment for me to realize that deciding what abundance was and deciding how it flows and how much is in my lake and how much goes on is really important.
Absolutely. And I should have had you up here saying all of that, because did any of you watch her body language and how she was talking about, I've been trying to get money in, and this was the body language. I've been trying to get it in. But if you change that to a flow, I'm trying to have more that flows through me. Because money, can we just say, money itself has no value. It's what you can exchange it for that has value. Money is an exchange. It's a currency. It's meant to continue. Mm-hmm. It's meant to keep going. Just like electricity is the same thing. We can store it up, but until we flow it, it doesn't power anything. And so just to collect money, like this was your body language, was with the little claws at the end.
Right.
Just to collect money, who wants a big pile of dollar bills?
Right, that's not true security. It isn't.
Well, and unless you can trade it for something, there isn't any value.
Right.
It's when you can exchange it for something that the value is there. Because as soon as a dollar, not a dollar, but a currency, as soon as, what's the word for that? A monetary, yeah, well, what's the generic term? Not dollar, not franc, not euro. It's, there's a, you know what I mean though, a generic money. If the money loses value, like the government says, that paper no longer has value. Like Canada did it a few years ago. They said you must bring in all your old paper money because on this date it will no longer have value. But you can come in and exchange it until then for the new ones that have value. As soon as they have no value, now we just have a big pile of paper. It's what we can do with it, and the flow that happens is where the value is. And that's what we're trying to teach to our body by showing it complete. Look at this as a complete flowing gesture. It doesn't stop somewhere. And it disconnects from my side, and it goes above the midpoint.
Things to work on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Give her a big round of applause. So I don't usually cover this kind of thing in a body language class. Is this good? You're learning stuff? So I'll come to you in just a second. Let me continue on what you just said. Remind me your name. Colleen. What she was talking about water. A good way to think about what abundant body language would look like is to think about what would it be like if you were in a pool of water. Let's say you are in a pool of water, but you can't move anywhere. And I put a little boat up here, and in this cute little boat, I put a skunk. And then I start pushing it in the water towards you. What are you going to do to the water if you can't move anywhere? Okay, show me. Because the skunk's coming. Yeah, you're like, get rid of that. Go over there, go somewhere else. We don't want it, and so we are pushing through the water. Well, let's say I get a new boat out here and I put a pile of $100 bills. Now what are you going to do to the water? You're going to pull it towards you. We are energetical beings. Everything on our planet is made out of energy. Einstein even put it into a mathematical equation. Everything is made out of energy. And energy has a flow to it. In engineering, because I told you I graduated in engineering, they tell you if you want to understand how energy moves, just look at how water moves. So it was really good, Kelly, that you brought this up, because if we want to know how energy moves, we just think about how water moves. And how that water behaves or moves is how energy moves. Well, money is also an energy. It's an energy exchange unit. That's what money is, an energy exchange unit. And so if I think about how I would flow through water, that is a really good indicator of how my body language should look. Cool? Yeah? You guys glad you came today to this class because we all asked the right questions? Awesome. All right, so one more time, a round of applause for Kelleen's question. And then right here, there's the microphone. Please stand up.
My name is Madison,
Hi,
and
Madison.
I just, the thought occurred to me when you say currency, it is a current. It's flowing.
Yeah.
So if we think about money, instead of saying currency, just current, and it flows in and out.
Exactly. That's what it's meant to do. Thank you so much. Okay, round of applause for her comment. Excellent. Okay, did we get all the questions? Did I get everybody's hand that had a question? All right, so now here's the test. Ready? I need some volunteers. Good answer. All right, so I would like, do you want to know, because we have a choice here now. We can choose which path we go down. Who wants to know more about, actually, let me just look at everybody here and decide. All right, we're going to do two different things. So I need some people who have not been to a body language class before who would like to come up to the front. So if you've not been before and you'd like to come, all right, excellent. So wait, leave your hands up because I need a few people. So let's go with you right here. What's your name? Yep. Oh, Kimber. So Kimber, will you come up here? And then let's go with you. What's your name? Kirsten. So Kimber and Kirsten, you guys are on this side of the stage over here. Steve, let's have you come. Let's have you come right over here. And will you do it for me? Yeah. No, blue shirt. What's your name? Rich? Okay, so Steve and Rich, you guys are on this side of the stage. So come to the front of the stage. Yes, because notice where they naturally want to stand? In the back. Do you know why? Because it's the energy. Humans have energy to them, and they feel your energy. And if they come to the front, they get closer to your energy. And so it feels like, oh, if I stand back, maybe I'm a little, fill in the blank, safer or... Yeah, but the reality is I've vetted them for the last hour. They won't bite. We're safe. And I'll even stand between you and them if that's better, okay? So I'll protect you. But what I want is for them to get to see body language in action. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and you guys are going to be the visual aid, all right? So we have Kimber and Kirsten and Steve and Rich. All right. So when somebody feels weak, what would you see in their body language? So slunched, that's a new word. Slumps shoulders. So everybody slump your shoulders. Okay. Do they already look weaker? Yes. Okay, what else would you see in their body language? Hold that. Chin down. Okay. And Kirsten? No smiling down there. Kimber. Okay. Okay, what else? Folded arms or gated in some way. You can put them in your pocket. You can put them behind your back. You can put them, yep. So we have different examples here. Good. Excellent. Yeah, weight on one leg. Okay, so feet pointed different directions. Okay. All right, so does this look weaker than they did a minute ago? Kimber, what's with all the smiling down there? All right, so let me tell you about a study that was done at Harvard Business School. You guys hold your, I have to tell this story so that you have to hold your pose for the right amount of time, so just hold on here. So at Harvard Business School, they did a test. And I love the tests they do at Harvard because they have lots of guinea pigs. They're called freshmen. And so they had the freshmen come in and they said, we're going to give you a test. The funny thing is if you go to the psychology center and you're going to get paid to be in a test, just know you do not know when the test is happening. It could be at any point from the time you sign the paper. The test can be part of what you're doing. And so they walk in and they tell them that they're going to be part of a test where they are testing interview skills. They're testing interview skills. And they ask them to go wait in a waiting room. And in the waiting room, they are asked to hold certain body language. And half of the participants were asked to hold weak body language, where their shoulders were down, they were slumped, their weight was off balance, no smiling was allowed. Kimber. and yeah, there you go. And so they were asked to hold this low body language. At the end of that, they were given a test to test their hormone levels. And then they were sent in to their interview. And what they found was those who held, and they were only asked to hold it for 2 minutes, those who held the negative or low or withdrawn body language for 2 minutes, their stress hormones increased and their confidence hormones went down. In 2 minutes, in just 2 minutes. And then when they went into their job interview, they didn't have to hold this pose anymore. Okay, so now you can go back to neutral. So now they went into their job interview like this, but the majority of the time, the interviewer chose to not hire the ones who had held the negative low pose for 2 minutes. They chose not to hire them. In just 2 minutes, you make a difference in your own hormone levels. Not just your confidence, not just your the way you feel, but your actual chemical levels change. So now, you see how they look after they held that pose for 2 minutes. How does somebody look if they are feeling strong? What would you see in their body language? Shoulders back. What else? Smile. You can smile now. Yay. Okay, did you see how that totally changed the stage? As soon as they just smiled. Oh my goodness, smiling makes a big difference. You guys that were at Break Free, do you remember our one guy that came up and then he smiled? Did that change everything? Oh my gosh, it was so cool. He friended me on Facebook yesterday and I was like, yes. Okay, so smiling, what else? Chin up, okay? Smiles on, chin up, what else? Yes, notice they naturally went to a balanced stance already, but not rocking on our feet. You got to keep them planted. Because what's happening, since you guys already asked deeper questions, I'm just going to go deeper. Ready? Yes. So what it's like is if you picture each of them standing in their own cup of energy, then you see what level they feel like they are at in their confidence. Okay, I got to explain it. So, for example, let's use you. So, is that all right? All right if I touch you? Okay. So here you are in your cup of water, okay, your cup of energy. Can you guys stay till 2? Is that all right? So when she's in her cup of energy, you know when it feels like there's too much because the wiggles will start. Either disconnecting, so you saw how she rocked on her feet, that disconnects the energy and lowers the energy level in the cup. Now, the reason why is as that level goes up, remember, it is much like water. If this energy level gets to here, how does that feel? Okay, did you guys watch her body language just there? You might not have, so because you're here for the first time, so let me show you. As I did this, Did you see her facial expressions change? She saw the energy coming up, and her chin went up to try to breathe longer. And then she closed her lips to get ready for when it went past her lips. And then she raised her nose a little. And when she saw that it got to here, did you see her eyes got really big? Like, energy, go back down. Because she was consciously trying not to rock on her feet. Because she's like, all right, Anne's watching my feet. Don't rock my feet. And so it's like, and we actually fear the energy that's coming because we think we will drown. But you know those dreams when you're underwater and you suddenly take a breath and you can breathe underwater, and how fun the dream becomes because you can breathe underwater and you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's actually, well, you heard me describe it, so even if you've never had that dream, it's okay. But the reality is, your daytime awakeness can be just like that. Because when the energy is going up, when you realize that just because the energy is here does not mean you can't breathe. Because I can breathe. There you go. Okay. Oh, now you finally breathed. Because she was totally holding her breath there, and then she's like, I can breathe. It actually calms us down to recognize I can breathe through the energy that I'm feeling. This is why one of the coolest things you can do is actually take at least one voice lesson. Because in the very first voice lesson, they'll teach you about how to change your breathing from breathing up here to breathing big. Or yoga, yep, anywhere where they talk about breathing. Because when you change that breathing, the instant you get enough breath is the instant that you feel calmer amidst the energy that you are standing in. And so you guys that are up here in front of all of these cool people pouring energy on you, and all the people that are watching on camera, because that never freaks anybody out, then that gives you the chance to feel calmer just by taking a breath. So this is why if you ever feel nervous, breathe. You don't realize that you've quit breathing. I do CrossFit. That's why you see all the calluses all over my hands. I do CrossFit, and all the time in CrossFit workouts, they're saying, the coaches will come around and say, hey, don't forget to breathe. Remember, you got to breathe. Because even in the middle of a workout, we'll forget to take those breaths. So breathing is a big part of body language. Everybody take a big deep breath. Let it out. Do you feel how that actually changes the energy of the room when everybody takes a breath? Okay, try it one more time. Ready? It actually, what should I call it? It actually softens the energy of the room when people remember to breathe. So, all right, round of applause for Kirsten for teaching us that. Now, let's couple it with remind me your name, what Cheryl said a minute ago, what we learned from Cheryl, that we want to be able to remember to have our hands above our midline at least, but above your head once a day would be very powerful. So if that's true, how could we couple a confident pose with our abundant body language? What would it look like? Oh, I'll give you context. Superhero. Let's see a superhero pose. All right. So now I'm going to come over here to Rich. So Rich goes, superhero. Oh my goodness, no. It's because how often during a given day, do you have a chance to raise your hands above your head? Unless you're going to CrossFit or yoga or basketball or somewhere like that, we don't. I don't see people driving down the freeway like this. Woohoo! The roof's not tall. That would be kind of scary. You should use your steering wheel. But we don't get that chance, so we have to give ourselves our chance. Because I just told you, how long do you have to hold the body language pose to change your hormone level? 2 minutes. And what do we do when we wake up in the morning? We go in the bathroom and we look in the mirror and we go, oh. Guess I'll go start my day. And so then we're programmed for the whole rest of the day. Woohoo! Well, what if instead we went in the bathroom in the morning, we flipped on the light. I've checked. There's no bathroom mirror police. Nobody else has to see you. You go in the bathroom, you look in the mirror, and you go, hey. I am so glad you are in my mirror this morning. And you take a deep breath. Let's go take on this day. And then you get outside the bathroom. Now do you think you'll look different as you go in to pour the cereal for the kids? Kids, here's some milk. Make it a great day. Mom, what's wrong? Nothing. I'm just upgrading today. Which one would start your day off better? The second one. And what's your excuse for why you don't do that? Weird. It's habit, bathroom mirror police, cognitive dissonance. Nobody has to see you. I've tested it. I've gone in my bathroom, shut the door. I was worried people would see me, so I did this. Nobody knew. Except for everybody asked, Mom, how come you're in such a good mood today? 2 minutes. It's my secret. 2 minutes. So let's just pretend that nobody would see you, that it's your mirror in the morning. What kind of a day do you want to have? Let's see, what would it look like?
I don't know why I'm so precise in that.
Were you a cheerleader? Yeah, Rich got all the way to this. Hey, that's an upgrade. Rich is all the way to here. But did you see his knees? Do I get to talk about you? You guys should all sign mentoring waivers right now. But right now, here's Rich, and he stands like this, and then what happens? The knees. Not right. Was it? It was the knees. So knees have to do with authority. We have a perception in our head that we will get in trouble if we access our power. That either it's a rule that we'll disobey, or even a person could have given us that rule. Like, for example, my parents, I count them as my heroes, but my parents were raised in, let's just say, less than ideal circumstances. My dad was raised in foster care until he ran away as a teenager. My mom was raised in abusive situations, and I'm their oldest child. They didn't have a handbook. So did I have a perfect childhood? I don't know what perfect childhood would look like. I don't think anybody has what perfect is. But did I have the same childhood as theirs? No, I didn't. So I count them as my heroes because they raised me differently than they were raised. Now, that being said, there were plenty of programs that I picked up along the way. And as an adult, I realized I worried about disobeying those programs. And so when we catch our knees rocking back and forth, all you got to do, Rich, is you just got to tell your knees, it's okay, I choose in. Try it.
It's okay, I choose in.
You got to tell your knees, not me.
I choose in.
There you go. Okay, so now hold your stance, smile, lip. Yeah, no, that was good. Okay, so now, ready? I want you to go into a superhero pose. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Yeah. That's exactly where I was going. No, hold it. Yeah, but put your chin down a little so you can see the people, because they are sending energy your direction. Give yourself permission to access the energy that's available to you. So you're married?
I am.
Is she here?
No.
Oh, we can talk about her then?
Yes.
So do you think she would like to see you access more of your amazingness? Yeah? Who wouldn't want to see you access your amazingness?
My competition.
Oh. So you're helping your competition right now? Okay, so from, what's today? The 21st? 2nd? So from January 22nd forward, no. From January 22nd forward, you are going to work for you instead of your competition. How does that feel?
Sounds awesome.
Okay, so, the knees. So if you look at it that those knees want you to work for the competition. Whatever the comment is, either I don't deserve it, or I'm not working hard enough for it, or whatever the comment is, you don't have to keep believing it. I give you permission to buy into a new self-confidence level inside of you. I give you permission to quit listening to the old rhetoric.
Thank you.
So now those knees, every time they wiggle, just think about, no, they're helping the competition. I want to lead the competition. All right, put your hands down for a second. What does scarcity mean to you? Okay, I don't need your verbal answer. I just needed to watch your body language answer. So here's the problem. As long as you believe that if you get something, it means somebody else has less, you will never give yourself permission to own your amazingness. Because you're the kind of person who would never hurt anybody. And so if you perceive that you receiving something makes somebody else have less, then you won't give yourself permission to access your amazingness. Does that make sense? And so think of it this way. You will become the leader that other people can watch and improve their situation because you succeed. Not when I succeed, somebody else has less. Does that make sense? Okay, so I won't go too deep because you didn't completely volunteer to come up here. So I won't go too deep into that, but are you following what I'm saying? Okay, so when you pick your power pose, whatever it is, I want you to think about yourself being a light that others can follow instead of cutting somebody else off. Does that make sense? Okay, so that was just a conversation between you and me. A whole bunch of people listened, but it was just between you and me. Cool? Yes. All right. So think about that, because you deserve to access your amazingness, Rich. You deserve it. You don't have to keep playing small to try to save people. It's not a reality, but it's one that we get stuck in. And so be that light that people can follow and better themselves. Will you do it? Yes. All right, awesome. Okay, round of applause for Rich. So now I still want to see these superhero poses that you're going to try on in the mirror tomorrow morning. Come on, they need help. Give them some examples. Give them some examples. All right, hold it for a few seconds. because our tendency is to want to do it for a second and then back off. So hold it long enough to get used to it. All right, now switch and do a different power pose. Come on, different one. I know, I got my cheerleader down here. Okay, they need help. Come on, you guys, show them some superhero poses. Then there's always this one, like this. Okay, but you got to hold it. Don't keep moving. Hold it. Hold it. Because the reason I'm asking you to hold still with it is so that it can soak in. Otherwise, you keep shaking it off. So hold it long enough to soak in. All right, so now everybody do this one. Ready? Incredible Hulk. Okay. Okay, now everybody take that same one and do it up. Breathe. Okay. Okay, ready? One more. Oh, yeah, you're doing good. Soak them in. All right, now hold that pose. Hold that pose, and you guys give them a huge round of applause while they're... No! All right, good job. You guys can put your poses down. But what I wanted you to feel here was I wanted you to give them an applause long enough that they couldn't hold their breath through it. Because one of the things we try to do is when energy comes at us, we try to weather the storm long enough. And if we can hold our breath long enough, we don't have to take any of it in. There's a lot of breath holding in this room. Fascinating. So when good things are coming to us, we don't let them in because we're so used to closing things out. Because remember, when good things come, if they're unfamiliar, our brain can interpret it as not a good thing. We have to get in the habit of teaching ourselves to receive good things with as simple of an activity as letting ourselves hold a pose in the morning. Now, these guys did really good, yes? You guys did awesome. Don't you think they should have a turn? Oh, yeah. So you guys now get to watch them. But the problem is, it won't be quite the same if 4 people are giving an applause to the audience. So what we're going to do is this. In just a moment, I'm going to count to 3. And on the count of 3, you're going to burst out of your seat. What's the word? You're going to burst out of your seat and you're going to strike your superhero pose. We gave you lots of examples of what that superhero pose can be. Strike your pose. And then you're going to hold the pose for 3 seconds. How long? 3 seconds. And at the end of that 3 seconds, what I'm going to have you do is you're going to yell 3 words. Can you see a pattern here? 3s all over the place here. So I'm going to count to 3. You're going to burst out of your seat. You're going to hold your pose for 3 seconds. Then you're going to say these 3 words. The 3 words, I get to choose them. And the words are, I am amazing. I am amazing. Because I'm betting there's a few people here that have never used those 3 words in a sentence before. Well, that's why it would be, I am amazing. That's about yourself. You might say you are amazing, but a lot of us never let those words sink into us. So you're going to say the words, I am amazing, at a volume of 300. Not 3. A volume of 300. And at the end of that, you're going to hold for 3 more seconds, and then we'll have a big round of applause. You guys get to play too. Will you play too? Will you guys all play? Yes. You guys that are online, I suggest you play too, because we want to get out of those comfort zones. When we get out of our comfort zone, now we upgrade. What do? Upgrade. Now, let's practice. What are the 3 words we're going to say? And you have to breathe after you say that. Because I just watched you guys go, I am amazing. And I've talked about breathing how much now here? So you must take a breath after you say the words, I am amazing, because it will let it in. And some of you are going to be like, oh, I can't wait till I get out of here so I can brush off the amazing. It's so uncomfortable. It's okay. That's why I do what I do. Because as a body language expert, I can see what's going on in people. And I had to choose early on how I was going to use that superpower. I could use it for anything I wanted, but I chose to use it to show people their amazingness. Because I see amazingness in everybody, but I see that they don't see it. So I'm willing to believe in your amazingness longer than you do. And I'm willing to keep getting up in front of people who have no idea who I am and helping them see where they can go. Because you guys are going to leave this class today. That's the problem, is all good things have to come to an end. You will leave this class. And when you leave, you will never be able to be exactly the same as when you came here this morning. And that is because I understand how your subconscious works, and I've been talking to your subconscious as much as I've been talking to you, because I want you to know and to be able to feel your amazingness. So will you participate? Yes. Will you play? Yes. Will you breathe? Yes. All right. All right, so get ready. We're going to burst out of our seat. Get your mental superhero pose ready. We're going to burst out of our seats, hold the pose. I'll count. At the end of 3 seconds, I am amazing. Take a breath. Hold it 3 seconds. Big round of applause. It is worth it. It's worth it. Okay, are you ready on the stage? Ready. Are you ready on the stage? Ready. Are you ready in the audience? Ready. 1, 2, 3. I am amazing. Big round of applause. Woo-hoo! Give high fives to everybody around you. High five, high fives, high fives, high fives. Good job, you guys. Good job. Wait just a second. Don't leave yet. All right, one more big round of applause for our volunteers on stage. Excellent, excellent. All right, now you guys can sit down, but you had to receive your applause. Yes. Darn it. Just make everybody soak in good things around here. Okay, have you guys learned something this morning? The question is, did you have fun while you learned something this morning? Yes. That is my goal. And we haven't had one of these body language classes in a few months, but I want to keep doing these here. If you guys know a group of people that needs to have a class like this, you need to talk to me or talk to the front desk. Because I love to get to travel around and teach people about their amazingness. And trust me, I've talked to engineering groups. You know, I even got to teach the Union Pacific Railroad's train simulator department. That was the funniest one to me because I was never going to drive trains, but I built flight simulators. So when I got to train the Union Pacific train simulator department, that was pretty fun. I thought it was very humorous. But the thing is we all need body language. And so there's many different ways that I can structure the class, and there's many ways that I can waive my speaker's fee for a beginning introductory class like this. So talk to me or talk to the front desk if you want to have me come speak. Now, you guys came here today. I want you to be able to have the chance to learn more. Because when I left the Master Your Influence class, I was driving home and I was thinking, What in the world can I do to adjust my body language? And you guys have lots of examples here now. At the time, I couldn't decide what I would put into practice. So I pulled into my garage, I walked in the house, and all my kids happened to be sitting in the family room. And I thought, oh shoot, here's my chance. But I wasn't prepared yet. So I walked to the door and I said, "Hi everyone, I'm home." And they looked at me like, Mom's got a screw loose. And I'm like, no, I'm going to own this. And all of a sudden, my 13-year-old ran across the room and hugged me. My kids were so hungry for me to be open to them that they would take the corny version of Mom standing in the doorway over the one that had been pushing them away. Every little change that we make gets us a new result. You don't have to make all the changes at once, but we do have to keep making changes. And so I want for you to be able to also move forward. I want for you to also be able to continue putting these things into practice in your life. And so would it be okay if I just gave you a flyer really quick about our Master Your Influence class? Would you like that? Okay, so they're going to give you a flyer about this, and it will look like this one right here. And when you get your flyer, I want you to look right here on the front where it says, change your results. It says, at this class, you will learn 3 keys to overcoming your mental filters, 15 principal areas of body language, and 3 effective steps to recalibrate your mind. Now, you'll notice that on this picture, there's a picture that doesn't look like me. This is Kirk Duncan. He's the one that taught the Master Your Influence class when I went to the class. He's the one who continues to teach it today. Inside the company, I teach mini classes. I don't teach it this way. You'll see me at it. You'll see me do a little bit there, but the majority of the class is taught by Kirk Duncan. He's the one that taught me. And so when you come to this class, you arrive the first day, you come a little bit early so that you can get your name tag. That way, if you ask a question or you volunteer to go on stage and you can't remember your name, you can look down at your cheat sheet and remember, oh, this is who I am. So you come a little early and you get your name tag. When you come into the class, it's taught at the Salt Palace. And there's between 800 and 1,000 people who come to this class. And when you walk in, you'll see that we pay close attention to details. There'll be a big screen up on both sides of the stage so that everybody in the room has the best seat in the house. When you come, you're going to learn about how to achieve your goals faster. You're going to learn about communication and relationships. You're going to learn how to put things into practice at a greater level so you can get more of the results that you want. Those of you who have been to the Master Your Influence, is that a great class to go to? How many of you have been? All right, how many of you are going? Some of the same hands. So you're telling me it may be worthwhile to go again? Excellent, excellent. So Steve, have you been to that class? Oh, you've been to Art of Mentoring. Are you going to Master Your Influence? You go. So you didn't sign up for Master Your Influence yet? That is the one I suggest you take your wife with you to. Because that class is the one that sets the foundation. And so is it okay to go out of order? Absolutely. I went out of order. And I went to Master Your Influence before I came to a body language show. I'd never been to one of these. And that's okay. You can, but I would suggest that if you want to bring somebody, you bring them to the Master Your Influence class. That one or the Royalty and Romance are our 2 foundational level classes. Those are very powerful. Now, some of you in this room should be in my group mentoring. I've been watching you, and if you're interested in my mentoring, it lasts for 3 months. My next one actually starts next Monday right here in this room. If the next one after that starts in May. If you're interested in that, you need to come talk to me after the class today. But because you're here in this room, I want to make you a special offer for coming to the Master Your Influence class. Because the next one of these is taught I have the dates right here. February 7th through the 9th. And the next one after that will be May 16th through the 18th. So February 7th through the 9th, or May 16th through the 18th. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's at the Salt Palace, downtown Salt Lake City. We have people who fly in from all over the world to come to that class. And you guys are right here local. You can just come to it easy. And we have people that come from all over. When I first came to the class, what's the tuition say on your paper? Just know that's not what the tuition was when my husband signed me up. It was much higher than that. But we as a company feel it is our mission to empower the human family with the skills to free their mind and clear their heart so they can create what they can envision. So that means we want more people there. There are many classes out there. My daughter flew down to San Diego to go to a class, and it was a 3-day class, and she paid $1,800 tuition to go to that class. We could easily do that. But we've decided that we want more people to be able to come. That's our purpose. Now, it doesn't mean that we also don't have to cover the cost of the Salt Palace when we go there. And it also, just so you know, people value things that they invest in. You invested your time to be here today. And I honor you for investing your time to be here. Because you didn't have to be here. From 9 till 11:30 today, you could have done something else. There's many things you could have been doing, and I thank you for spending your time here. So because you spent your time here, I want to give you a special return offer, a special offer in return. So on there it says that our tuition is usually $27. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lower tuition. I'm going to give you a lower tuition, but before I do that, I want you to choose in at this level right here. I want you to choose in. Because we're not going to teach the class at a lower value level. Just because we charge a lower tuition doesn't mean we're not going to give you this value. This is the value of the class. But I want you to choose in knowing that it will be less. Now, you guys, I don't see my things up here. Cameron, do we have some for me to... No, the things that I use to give away. What's that? All right. So, do you guys like giveaways? When you came in, yes, please bring that up to me. When you came in, you filled your name. Oh, she would like to add hers. Add that one really quick. Steve would like to add his. There we go. Some of you were like, I don't want to enter a giveaway, but now some of you do. Excellent. So this is a jar. Thank you very much, Dave. Okay, this is a jar full of all those forms that you filled out for our giveaway. So they went to find out where the things are for me to give away so that I can give them away. They're on their way. Is that cool that they're on their way? So what they're going to bring up for us is they're going to bring up I guess I should wait to see what they bring up. I think I know what they're going to bring up, but then if I'm wrong, you'll be like, oh. So they're going to get the giveaways. But while they're doing that, I want to just draw your attention to this online academy right here. If you open this, I'm just going to tell you. I'm pretty sure that we still have they're kind of collector's items at this point, but they're actual printed CDs in cases that my new car doesn't have a CD player. My computer does not have a CD player. It's kind of gone the way of VHS. I mean, not VHS. What are those called? 8-tracks. Remember? Anybody remember 8-tracks? I saw one once, and they... They are not real usable anymore. So the CDs, you can put them in your computer, but we usually do these as audio downloads now. We send them to you as an audio download, so you can put them on your phone or your computer or your iPod, so you can listen to them wherever you go. but we still have a few of the actual physical CDs. So they're going to go get those for me. The problem is I don't know which ones they're going to bring me because they weren't right here. But I am going to also throw in a bonus for those of you who register for the Master Your Influence while you're here today. So I want you to circle these for me. This one right here, the very first one in the upper left, Building a Mind of Steel. This audio, awesome. Can you bring those up here for me? This audio right here, Building a Mind of Steel, this is about reducing the number of negative comments that go through your head and increasing the number of positive comments that go through your head. Thank you so much. So circle that one right there. The next one I want you to, let me see what they brought me here. Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. The next one I want you to circle right here is this one that says Slay the Dragon. This one right here, this is about how to reduce the emotional negativity that's already inside of us. Remember how I talked about your emotional cup that you feel like you're standing in? Part of the reason why our cup will fill up too quickly and make us feel like we're drowning is we've kept a lot of old emotions in there. And when you know how to clear those out, now you don't feel like your energy cup fills up too fast and makes you feel like you're drowning. So circle that one right there. The next one I want you to circle is the vision board. This is how to get the left and the right side of your brain working together for your results. So Doreen, you need to write these down so you know. Okay, excellent. Because she didn't know I was going to give you these away. Is that okay? Yeah. 2 of you. All right, that's good. So Building a Mind of Steel, Slay the Dragon, the vision board. And then over here where you see, right here, perfection is a direction, not a destination. I want you to circle that one. Those 4 CDs are going to be my gift to you when you sign up for Master Your Influence while you're here today. You can sign you up or you can sign another person up. But when you do, you'll get those 4 audio CDs. And they'll send them to your email as a download so you can put them on your devices. Perfection is a direction. This is helping us see what kinds of perfectionism are shutting us down. If you don't think you're a perfectionist, you need to listen to this CD so you see where perfectionism is stopping you. That would be very powerful. And Rich, right? So like when Rich was up here and we were talking about, we have this belief that if we get something, somebody else won't. That actually will fall into the same category. I highly recommend you listen to that one as well. So those 4 CDs will be my gift to you when you sign up for the Master Your Influence class today while you're here. Now, I have some to give away. All right, so I have 2 copies of Slay the Dragon, the vision board, and then 2 other CDs that I recorded. This one is called Don't Dump Your Cup. This is how I talk in here about why we procrastinate. I talk in here about work-life balance. And I also talk about how to be able to receive what's coming to us. I watch body language everywhere I go. And one of the fascinating things is that when you give somebody a compliment, how do they usually respond? Thank you. So they'll even say thank you, but they push the compliment away. We push the good things away that are coming to us. This is how to receive the good that's coming to you. Remember how I talked about if something positive comes into our life, but it's unfamiliar, it can feel like something to push away. You want to know how to receive good in your life. And this one, the bucket list, this is how to get outside your comfort zone and stay inside your safety zone. We often think that getting outside of our comfort zone will make us not safe, but we need to understand how to separate those. And that's what I talk about in the bucket list. So these first 2, Slay the Dragon vision board, these are Kirk Duncan's voice on there. These ones, Don't Dump Your Cup and bucket list, those will be my voice. So sometimes people call the office and go, this is some guy on this CD. I know. They're not all me, just so you know ahead of time. All right, so I'm going to draw some names to receive these. So first, we'll draw 2 names to receive the Slay the Dragons, and they are going to Victoria. How do you say your last name? Toss? Lopez. That could be what that says. Victoria Lopez. Good answer. Good job. And this one goes to Rachel Oliphant. Congratulations. Okay, now 2 more. These 2 go for, these are for the vision board, and these go to Amy McMullen. You're welcome. And this one goes to Cheryl Ross. You're welcome. All right. So exciting. The next 2 are Don't Dump Your Cups. This one goes to Terry Combs. Terry Combs. You're so welcome. And this one goes to Kayleen Horsley. Congratulations. All right, then 2 more of them. These ones, I try to get straight ones, then folded ones, then bent ones, because everybody are like, how do you fold it so your name will come out? This one goes to Rich Summers. That was good. And this one goes to Camille Whitechurch. Good job. You guys are getting good at this. I like that. All right. So those go to all of you. Then right here, I have a scholarship to the next Master Your Influence class. You like that one? So if you're already coming and your name gets drawn out, you get to bring somebody with you. You get to bring somebody with you. And this scholarship will also include those 4 audio CDs. The Building a Mind of Steel, the Slay the Dragon, the Perfection is the Direction, and the Vision Board. It will include those. So would anybody want to receive that? All right. So this one is going to go to Angie Young. Congratulations. So are you going to come, or are you bringing somebody with you? So you can bring somebody else. Congratulations. That's awesome. They brought me more of them. Steve, I want this one to go to your wife. You gotta tell her it's a gift from me, okay? You're so welcome. I look forward to seeing her. And make sure you come up. I'll be there, so make sure you bring her and introduce her to me. Would you do that? Will you do that? Will you guys support me in that? All right, I have one more. Should I give this one away as well? You guys would want to come learn more about body language? Okay, good. I did my job. Only I can't read this one. Eden Woodle. There you go, Eden. Do I get to give you a hug?
So much.
You are so welcome. All right, now you need to know those are scholarships, but they are not registrations. You still have to take that scholarship form out to the front desk and fill out your registration. We've covered the tuition for you for those. There you are. We've covered the tuition, but you still have to fill out the registration or else you won't get the email that says, hey, come at this time to this place on this date. You know that email? You want that email. You want that. It's exciting when you open your email and go, yes, I'm going to that class. And then part of you will go, oh my gosh, why am I going to that class? And then you just remember, Anne told me that when I feel something new coming, sometimes it might not feel familiar. So it's okay, either excitement or a little bit of what have I done? Either way means you're in the right place. So give yourself, does that make sense? Give yourself permission to come learn something new. And you'll want to be able to take notes, so bring a pen. We have lots of pens there, but you want to be able to take notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the other tuition here in just a second. To get this special tuition online, you guys, they are going to give you a link that you can go to, that you can register for this class. Those of you that are here in this room, you can register you or somebody else at this rate because my husband signed me up, so I understand. But in order to do it, you're going to go out to the front desk and you're going to register with the people that are out there. They're going to help you. Now, before I write this new tuition right here, which you'll really like it, before I write it, are there any questions about this class or this offer other than what's the price? Go ahead. Her question is, do we have one in the summer? So the next one is February, then May, then August. And they'll know the date at the front desk. I don't know the dates, but it's in August. Great question. Okay, any other questions? Did I explain it well enough that you guys got it? Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, so look for those audio downloads in your email when you go out there to register for this class. So when you go to register and when you come to the class, remember I just ask that you come say hi to me when you're at the class. Come say hi to me. And especially Steve, bring your wife so she can say hi to me. Cool? All right, awesome. Okay, so here is your special tuition. Your special tuition, when you register today, it includes those 4 CDs. They didn't give me a number. So here's the thing. Usually not this number. I know this number. They didn't tell me how many are in the room. Usually I am only supposed to give those 4 audio CDs to the first 15 people that register. But I think I want all of you there. Is it okay if I give it to all of you? All of you who register will get those 4 audio CDs. All of you will register, will get those 4 audio CDs, not the just first 15, but you want to come to the class. All right, so I think I covered everything. Here is your number. What's your number? 67. Okay, so to take advantage of that, you need to go out to the front desk. You need to take advantage of that. You guys that are online, you need to go to the link. I am really grateful all of you came. If you're interested in talking to me about my group mentoring or you have another question, I'll stay here for just a few minutes. Give yourselves a big round of applause for being here this morning.